Welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. I'm Darren. Got Tyler here with me. Uh, Tyler, we're going to be going over some MLB today. I know it's a big week for us. We got spring training starting up. We're both big baseball fans. Got A's and Giants we're going to want to get into. We're going to update people on Andrew Vaughn, who lived around the area, same area we lived at. And I think we're going to get into some best pitcher discussion as well. That's always fun. But first, just wanted to thank my sister Amanda for coming on last week. It was fun having her on, getting her perspective on sports, and just having her, just getting a chance to interview. So Amanda, thank you for that. Thanks for doing that. And then also, I just wanted to thank my wife Hannah for helping me with the editing as well. That's been important for us. We just want to keep getting better at that. And so thank you, Hannah, for doing that as well. Very much appreciated. So we hope to also, I think, as we kind of continue to grow with this, I was thinking about this. We're like doing this podcast now for like a year almost, right?
It's that long?
Almost a year. I think in April it will be like a year that we kind of been messing around with it, and so so we're getting up on there. And I think the more that we're doing it, I think we kind of want to continue to try to just get better at it and grow it. And I think that's going to require us, like we said, we're going to try to hopefully get better at the audio and all that good stuff. But I think we're just gonna. I think we're going to continue to try to focus on baseball here moving forward for a little bit, especially since we live in a Bay Area, where it's a big baseball, town and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to kind of doing that moving forward here a little bit. But I know, of course, we'll still talk about, NBA, other sports as well, national news, culture, and all those good things as well. So those are the things I think we're going to be looking forward to, for maybe the next year, hopefully, doing this.
All the way till October, at least.
Well, October, at least, whether people like it or not,
We will be talking baseball.
I know for sure. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get some more guests on there. That's the key for that. We kind of want to really be focusing, I know, on for sure. So we have to continue to grow that with you, grow that part of the podcast more and more. So. I don't know what it is about baseball. I love the sport. I think I just fell in love with it at a young age. And it's funny now because most people just kind of find it boring a little bit and, not very exciting. Like some people I kind of follow on Twitter and stuff like that are like, they don't even know who their favorite players are anymore. And, as I'm getting older too, I don't necessarily have like a favorite player really or anything like that, but I still just enjoy the game and listening to it. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's more nostalgic, I feel like, with me than anything else. Like it just kind of helps me think of family and memory. I think that's all part of the, getting older too, what you kind of remember. But with that said, I saw this great video of of the Cardinals. Like, I want to say like pitching coach or somebody, and he was hitting just like line drives at the pitchers. What do they call that? PFPs or something like that. Pitchers fielding practice. And they're like, he's hitting line drives at these guys from like 40 feet away. And like he hits the one off the kneecap and they're like, oh, off the kneecap. Like they're just like joking around. And I think it was like, they're hitting lasers at the guy. And I don't know, just that's what I like about baseball. It's kind of like it's a slow moving, but when you're in the process of the game, it's exciting. But there's always this like chitter chatter. And it's just kind of like this great game. I just feel like, because it's, you're outside and I don't know. I think that's what I look forward to the most with the season starting up.
It's every day. It's something like, even if you don't watch the game every day, you look at the box score of a team that or like pick a team if you don't have one and just follow it that way. It's just so fun to be a part of, like, especially when your team's good, because it's so hard to be good in baseball, especially when you're the A's more than the Giants because they've spent so little.
I know. So like, how do we get people more into it though? Like, how does it grow more and more? That's what I keep thinking about, like with the game of baseball. Like, I think they got to element the speed more into the game. They got to bunting. They got to get more diversity. I think that obviously would help a little bit more too in the game.
Oh, for
Adding
sure.
so. And they haven't really been able to grow the game internationally outside of the usual, countries, right? That it usually produce players, or like
The
what I mean, like
the Dominicans and Japan and Korea.
Japan's, like in the NBA, like they're able to get like from other countries a little bit more, but that could be also, I guess those countries if they even play the game at all. So it's a little hard to play baseball at like 4 degrees. Like some of those like Russian countries probably or something. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like somebody just loves baseball so much. I just kind of think like, how can we get into it? And like now that I'm doing like PE, and I always think back to like when I coached baseball too. It's like, and even when we played it, right? It's like throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch. It's just like I don't know, like the simplicity of the game. I've just always enjoyed. So yeah.
When you're teaching PE, I bet the kids enjoy playing baseball. Like.
Yeah, they like playing. They don't like playing the games necessarily because not a lot of people I notice like know the rules enough, and they're not as in physical education. Not everybody's fully participating in it. Like it's not like you're playing out for a team or something.
Physically unable to.
Well, just they don't want to be there necessarily, so their effort's not quite what they need. But when the ball's being thrown at you, you do have to try to like catch it, or you just don't play catch.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, so that's always like kind of funny for me. So I don't know, I just kind of like to see baseball keep growing, especially with young people and stuff like that. So to me, it's just a great game. But so why don't we get into it a little bit? Hopefully, we'll be able to kind of make it a little bit more exciting for the people that do listen to us here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. So let's start with the two teams that we care about the most. Like I said, we grew up in Santa Rosa, California, which is like an hour drive from
Greater Bay Area.
Yeah, like hour 15-minute drive to Azer Giant Stadium, maybe a little bit more. So it's funny that we both like different teams. Your team's obviously been a little bit more on top lately with the 3 championships in the 2010s there. My team has had multiple playoff runs and multiple first round exits. But this year, there's a lot of little things I'm looking forward to. The first thing the only thing I'm really looking for on the A's standpoint came out yesterday was their new stadium release. They released new pictures of their possible new stadium renderings along with the environmental report. And that's an important step actually in them actually getting closer to the stadium. I'm not like that optimistic yet because me, I'm more just, I'm just thinking like nothing's going to happen ever. So
I don't ever think anything's going to happen until they start digging.
Exactly. All I know is they're at least making more progress than they've ever made before in my time here as an A's fan. So to me, honestly, that's really the only thing I care about the most with the A's. Like because I feel like with the A's, like every season is the same now. I know Simeon's going to be gone. I know next year Chapman's probably going to be gone. I know Olson's probably going to be gone. I know eventually Luzardo and all those guys. So the A's are the same system every year. I think they're good enough this year to make the playoffs. And then we'll see what happens at that point. Honestly, that's really where I'm at. I mean, we'll get more into the A's, player by player as we move forward. But that's the grand scheme with them. It's sad. So to me, the stadium is the most important thing because I look at the Padres, they have Machado and Tatis, like they're being paid combined like $550 million or something like that. And I'm like, I don't even know if the A's have spent that much money in like 5 years on their roster. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
probably not.
I don't know. It just cracks me up how there's this good sports podcast I listen to now called the Hang 'em Up Sports Podcast, and he was talking about how people can too easily tank in Major League Baseball, or in the A's case, still kind of win, but also collect.
Did they say tank?
Yeah, like MLB teams kind of tank, the Pirates or like the Tigers a couple years.
They just don't spend money so they can collect the revenue.
Yeah, or they just tank like the Astros did so bad, which is smart, but I mean it's still tanking, right? You know what I mean? You just lose 50 games for 3 straight years. So the A's don't do that, which I've always respected. Billy Beane goes at least to try to make the playoffs and stuff, but it is frustrating when you're losing those same players that are getting you to the playoffs every year to other teams that are then beating you in the playoffs or winning World Series later. So, that's the part that's the most frustrating. So that's my A's part for the week. I also the last part was they did pick up a closer in Trevor Rosenthal. He used to be the closer for the Cardinals. He pitched last year for the Padres. That should help.
Yeah, but you lost Liam.
But we lost Liam, and so it's like I know that they don't really care about closers. They just feel like one will develop. And you know what? I kind of agree with them in the grand scheme of things. But again, when you're a franchise that never keeps anybody, it's kind of frustrating that you just kind of keep losing people like that. So I don't know. That's the one part with the A's that it's going to be hard for me to get off this year until the games actually start. Is how's the ownership? What are they doing forward other than this like stadium that we hope will happen in 2026 or whatever 2024 they're saying right now. So we'll see.
I mean,
That's
the
my eighth part for the week, man.
Giants were right there in 1997. They were going to Tampa, and then they got saved.
Yep.
Good ownership.
So, what do you got for the Giants this week? Anything on the Giants that you found interesting?
I'm just sick of these people who are okay with them not doing anything when they're like the fifth richest franchise in baseball. And they don't, their big signing was Tommy La Stella. Like, and then Giants fans are like, yeah, that's a good signing. What do you mean that's a good sign? Maybe if he's our fourth pickup and we get Lindor, then La Stella, or I just don't.
Still is an infielder, obviously, by the way, just to let people know. And he's a utility guy, you feel like at best.
He's a 275 hitter with no pop.
Yeah, he did have a career year last year, so we'll see if they can.
How many homers did you hit last year? Like 8?
Probably I think he had like 8. But that's pretty good in like as many games.
60 games, I guess. But it's just so. I mean, I like watching my team almost more when they're bad because I'm less critical and I'm like, well, we're not expected to do anything, and it's a little more fun for me because when we lose and when we're good, I'm like, this. The hell is going on? Get rid of them all. Not really, but it's just.
Why do you like it when they're bad? You don't have to care as much?
No, because it's just like you see it's the process. I enjoy the process of them getting good, but I wish they would sign someone to get them a little better. Like for instance, Lindor. That's the guy I wanted to go get.
Ooh, the shortstop. You're still pissed about that.
Francisco Lindor. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, he's the shortstop for the Mets now.
Yeah, he played for the Indians. He led them to a World Series.
It has blue hair now. I saw that.
He dressed up as Eddie Murphy, coming to America. He has all this personality. He's exciting to watch.
I heard they're going to spend more next year, though. That's what I've heard.
I've heard that. We'll see. If they do that, I mean, a lot of money comes off the books with Crawford and Belt.
Yeah, so I think they're probably just waiting for that. They're gonna spend, man. You see that? Like you're the one where it's like you shouldn't even worry about it because they're gonna spend at some point. Like they're the Giants, they will spend.
Well, they
might spend stupidly,
spend it on
but they'll
crap.
spend. But that's the guy when you.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not like the A's. I'm not. It's not. It's a different type of. Just there's no reason there shouldn't be a superstar in San Francisco.
Who
is my?
Because Posey's over the hill now, obviously.
Posey's been over the hill.
Who's
for
the most
3
exciting
years.
player from the Giants this year that if you're watching like that you're going to actually be looking forward to at bats for?
There's no one I'm going to be watching just because they're the Giants.
Well, yeah, but who's the player you're going to be looking for?
Mike Yastrzemski. How many people who aren't diehard baseball fans know who Mike Yastrzemski? Well, maybe because of his great grandfather or great uncle.
His grandfather.
Grandfather, like, I mean, it's not a good.
Oh, your Giants history, come on.
But Carl Yastrzemski has nothing to do with the Giants.
No, he was his grandfather. We gotta know that. Mike. Yeah, Mike's probably not gonna be getting too. He's not a sexy name out there. You're probably not gonna get too many people. But that's why you gotta be like your boy Mateo49 on Twitter. He watches.
No, I don't want to be like him and just be happy with everything they do.
The 4th straight shortstop in the farm system. You gotta watch how he's playing.
Yeah, we got a 19-year-old kid who I supposedly came into spring training with a thick bottom half, which is a good sign, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to see him for 2 years.
Thick bottom half is a good sign.
I don't. That's baseball.
I love the scouting and like perceptions of things. Like, just like no, that guy's got some great calves, man. Look at those calves right there.
It's like Moneyball when the old guy's like, he has an ugly girlfriend, so he's like he has no confidence.
An ugly girlfriend.
What's that mean?
Ugly girlfriend means no confidence. Okay.
So Billy be like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Or Brad Pitt, whatever. I don't know how true that story is, but
And that's part of baseball. That's why I like it so much. Is like not because of those comments, but because there's so much like trash talking in between. Because there's so much downtime. There's so much little comments that go on that build up. That's why you have these brawls too. Eventually, it's like there's just these little build-ups and conversations that happen over time and stuff like that. Because just like there's a lot of downtime in baseball. You know what I mean? And then you get up
a
there,
lot of chirping.
a lot of chirping all the time. All right, so we'll. You got anything else on the Giants there? Other than you're probably disappointed that the Padres and Dodgers keep loading up.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You watch your rivals just keep loading up, getting these studs, and we're getting Tommy La Stella. He has a good K to walk ratio, so that's a good sign.
Hey, you guys had a good season last year after getting blown out the
No,
first 2 games.
that
so
is
see what happens.
They definitely took better at bats last year. It was
You have the biggest coaching staff in the league, so you're getting the best quality coaching you can get there. Gabe
maybe one of
Kapler's.
the.
Why don't you shave your beard like Kapler?
I don't even know how he shaves his beard.
It's very clean.
I know he's
shaved.
one.
I know
he's
feel
one
like
of the
spends
most.
at least a couple hours on it.
Well, I don't have that time. I know he's one of the most ripped coaches in managers.
You don't have
in
2
baseball.
hours. You have 2 hours to trim that beard. You gotta hire somebody. That's funny. All right, so Giants starting up the next week as well. A's starting up next week as well in the spring training. Yeah, as we March starting here, March is here. So, have you ever been to spring training before?
No, I need to go.
That's on my bucket list for sure. Getting down to Arizona. That's definitely for sure on my bucket list. Hey, I just want to talk about a couple other pitchers that we kind of wanted to get into this week was some of the NL. Who are some of the NL pitchers that moved from AL to NL, and like who are the best ones that did that? And I was looking over the list, and there's some pretty good players that moved leagues this year from NL to AL. They took a big step back to AL. They got Bauer, Darvish, and Snell. So 3 of those people moved from to the NL West to your Padres, Darvish and Snell, and then you got Bauer to the Dodgers. So the 3 best acquisitions in the pitcher all went to the NL West. So that kind of like makes to your point there too. So the NL is stacked with pitching this year. The AL, they really have. I looked at what projected would be their top like fantasy baseball pitchers or something like that. And you got Cole, and Cole's 1, Bieber 3, but then you got to go all the way down to how do you pronounce? Is it Gelato? I always want to call him Gelato. I know that's not his last name. Giolita. He's number 9, and then you have. I think it goes all the way to like.
He's on the White Sox.
Huh?
He on the White Sox?
Yeah, and then goes to Glanslow and
Glasnow.
And I'm like, those are the top guys in the AL. Like, I was just like, what? That's what they had rated as the top 5 guys. I thought that was a big drop off. Maybe not after Bieber as much, but I don't know. I just thought it wasn't as good as the NL, where you're like, they're way deeper. You got DeGrom, you got Nola, you got Kershaw, you have Flaherty. You got like it's a little deeper in between. Like
you have the whole San Diego Padres starting staff is loaded.
Darvish,
Paddock, Lamet, Darvish, Snell.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who do you think?
And then the Dodgers have Kershaw, Buehler, May, Urias.
Yeah, they're pitching.
I'm sure they have David Price.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see which pitchers. It was interesting to see the leagues and like how much. I know it doesn't matter as much AL and NL, but it was interesting for me to see like how much better the NL or at this point of the year looks like with their starting pitching going into the year, and how much deeper it is, just like with their top guys. So that'll be something I'm looking forward to seeing as well. On pitching, I think you asked me the question.
Did they announce if they're doing? Hold on. Did they announce if they're doing DH in the NL?
No, they're not going to do that.
Oh, they're so dumb. I hate baseball. I love baseball, but I hate baseball.
You love baseball, but you hate baseball. I should double check on that, but I'm pretty sure they're not doing it.
I thought they hadn't decided yet.
Maybe not. I'm pretty sure I should probably look that up. Speaking of pitching, if you had one game to win, who would you go with? Pedro, Maddox, Johnson, or Clemens?
The big unit.
Huh?
Randy Johnson.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go with Pedro. It's funny how I was thinking of those four. It really comes down to two. As much as people love Maddox and Clemens, those are the two guys I think that stick out the most to me, as well as Clemens and Pedro. They just were so clutch, and they just were so their stuff was so powerful. You know what I mean? They just were. And then they were a powerful presence on the mountain too.
Well, Pedro would throw at your head. He had no. All of them would. Really?
Oh, Clemens would
not at your head.
Clemens would throw bats.
Clemens, throw bats at Mike Piazza.
I almost took him out there. I remember people remember that with steroids. they're blaming it on this void rage or something like that. I was like, oh, come on, that's unnecessary.
Remember what was the old man on the Yankees who threw down, or Pedro threw down? George Zimmer or
George Zimmer.
Don Zimmer.
George Zimmer, I like that. Yeah, Don Zimmer.
Just old man on the grass.
Yeah, so I got Randy. All right, I got Pedro, and you got Randy. So I think it's really close though for me. What I was thinking of, I was those two to me are just it's like splitting hairs. Like the way Johnson was 6'10", thrown at you, probably if you're a lefty at your head, you don't want any part of that at all. So that's the guy I'm going with for sure. Is Pedro, but it's close.
If you haven't seen the Randy Johnson versus Larry Walker at bat in the All-Star game, you should check it out.
He flips his helmet.
Yeah, and bats right-handed.
That's right. That is a good one for sure. I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to face him either, especially after one goes over my head like that.
Hell
I'm good.
No.
I'm good. I'll take a seat.
And he has a slider that just falls at your feet.
No thanks. All right. So we'll probably continue to kind of move on with this. Next week, maybe we'll probably get into some hitters a little bit more going forward, get into some into the divisions a little bit more, try to break that down, division by division, maybe, or at least league by league, and kind of see who the best teams are. I know me and you are big into fantasy baseball as well. We do a keeper league, so it's kind of important for us to know some of the players in regards to it as well. So I know we're kind of up to date on that. Hey, I just wanted to give an update on Andrew Vaughn, because I just because he's from the area we grew up in, and obviously we kind of have.
He played in our little league.
Yeah, he played in the same little league that we
coached
played in. Yeah, exactly, and especially since I did get the chance to kind of coach him and be around him and be part of that. It's kind of been neat just kind of following his run through, high school, and then when he went to Cal for 3 years, and now in the White Sox minor league system. I don't know. It's just been kind of neat to see just somebody you kind of knew progress like that, and just kind of accomplish.
And this isn't a 20th round
goals.
pick.
No, he was a third overall
pick. This isn't a 20th, third overall pick. No, I people are gonna be like, why are you talking about this kid who's in your? This is a stud. He was third overall pick. He played for Team USA when he was 18. Hit a grand slam against Cuba.
Yeah, no, he's always been a stud, but he's so he's so low key about his he's not a show me guy at all, that he's always been able to kind of stay under the radar in the same way. You know what I mean? He's on Twitter, but he's never on it, or he's just not that type of guy. He's fishing all the time, and he's just always been a hard worker. I just remember him even back when we were doing Little League, just how much he just loved the game. And yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of funny for me to think of that we had a chance to it was your dad
interact.
Did your dad say you went to a game just to kind of check him out when he was 11 or 12 or something, you know what I mean? He at least saw him play when he was a little kid, and now it's you don't usually in this area have people like that you kind of know that just make it to a professional sport, and to see them accomplish their goals that they were looking to accomplish there.
Yeah, my dad used to tell me, which goes for Andrew, if you have to tell people how good you are, you're probably not that good. And he never talked about oh, watch me. And when my dad went for that game, he hit some laser off the scoreboard. He was like, wow, I've never seen the ball hit like that at 12 years old.
Yeah, he just had. And
they did have funky bats back then, but
he
obviously he's proved he can do it with wood.
So I wanted to bring him up just to let people know that he's battling right now for the DH spot for the White Sox. Abreu, who's their MVP first baseman, recently tested positive for COVID. So he's going to be out for a few weeks, so which will give him an opportunity to kind of get more and more at bats here in spring training, at least for the next couple of days. And so I know he's in the running for the DH spot there, for the starting DH spot. They said that they have him penciled in, but just to give people an update on, it's kind of crazy that Tony La Russa is his manager as well, just kind of Bay Area guy as well. So here's what Tony La Russa said about him as a hitter. So this is why I think this guy's going to be unreal. You know what I mean? Like, I just think he's too humble. He's too focused, I feel like. So listen to La Russa. I'd say Vaughn has the three most important things a hitter has to have. First of all, if he's in a cage or if he's taking live batting practice, and I'm sure it would be the same in a game, he doesn't ever step in there when he's not ready to do damage. He's got all the hitterish attitude, which we obviously always knew. Second, he's got no fear. And third, he works left center, right center, which is what high average hitters do. Produce a lot of RBIs and a lot of home runs. They start a lot of rallies. In other words, what I'm saying is he's very impressive. So, like, La Russa's been around a lot of guys, a lot of hitters over his time. And to get that compliment at 22 years old is, I'd say it's pretty high praise. I'm not saying like La Russa's probably been wrong about guys as well, but I'd say La Russa's pretty accurate as well. So, I'd give him more the upper hand in that, as well as a Hall of Fame manager. So I'm just excited to see if he can make the team this year and just kind of follow his progress and pick him up in fantasy baseball.
And Andrew's best case scenario, what player would help him do?
Huh?
Miguel Cabrera? Like, best case scenario?
Best case
Who
scenario.
would you compare him to?
Bagwell.
Like Cabrera? Bagwell?
That's kind of, I was thinking like gap to gap, like could get like almost 400 home runs, something like that. Like maybe develop even more power as he gets older, become a decent first baseman. He's kind of smaller, like Bagwell.
They
don't hit quite the same, but Bagwell was an unreal hitter. People forget.
Oh, he was a beast. I have no problem with his. I bet he becomes close to a Gold Glove defender.
Yeah, maybe close to it. Yeah, because he's just such a hard worker. We know that.
And he has good hands. Like, he wasn't like a stiff out there.
No, that's why he's such a good hitter. He has such good hands.
Yeah,
his hands are unreal. His back control is second to none. Like, he just can center a baseball like nobody else. That's what's impressive about him, is like he just like most people just see a ball. He can see like the very smallest part of the ball. So the ball, what I mean? That's why he's really good at what he does. So I'm interested to see what he does moving forward this year. So I don't know. That's all I got for us for baseball wise this week. We'll continue to kind of keep updating you guys on some A's and Giants throughout the month here. Kind of keep us updated on Andrew as well. So good luck, Andrew. Hope you make the squad, man. We know we're pulling for you here on Fatboy FadeAway for sure. So still got fans out here in Sonoma County for sure. Represent Mark West Little League, baby. There you go.
There will be a race to see who drafts him first in fantasy.
Second round. No, I was kidding. All right, we'll be back with the NBA. All right, we're back. NBA this week on the podcast. Let's get into it. Tyler, they just released the second half schedule of the NBA. I'm like, that's kind of weird. It just happened. I kind of forgot they were doing that. So they just released the second half of the schedule here. All-Star break that nobody wants, or the All-Star break people want, but All-Star game nobody wants. Kevin Durant well played with the hamstring there to get out of it. Very well done. Devin Booker
he's
will
missed
take his
a couple of games.
I know, but I like how they're like, he's gonna miss the games through the All-Star break. I'm like, what a shock. So he's not gonna be able to be there. So anyways, big NBA is starting to kind of heat up a little bit. I know we just kind of got done talking baseball and how important that is to us and how much we love it and stuff like that. And I think we like it for, like we said, the reasons of the radio and family and just the pace. And we have two teams that we really care about. But I mean, I know to be real, we still love the NBA. And that's still like one of our big passions. And I think the thing is, like, that's why we started the podcast in a way, is we love playing rec league together. Most of the rec leagues we played together was basketball. So I think this is the sport we're still going to want to focus on here a little bit. And, here on the Bay Area, we still got the Warriors still playing pretty good, right? You know what I mean? So they're not playing great, but they're playing a little bit better. So the NBA is still relevant.
That's like the best part about the NBA to me is it brings like the Bay Area together where every other sport, well, except hockey, I guess, if you want to count that, it's all divided. Like you're an A's fan and a Raiders fan. I'm a Niner and a Giants fan, but we have this bond over the Warriors. Like where, and they were bad, so bad, the worst top 5 worst franchises ever for 30 years.
Ever. Not even close. Maybe not 30, but at least 20. I mean, at least 20. I mean, just awful. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs for 16 straight years. And then they missed it again for another 4, basically, before.
They chose a coach over a player.
Doesn't happen.
They chose Don Nelson over Chris Webber. You got to be an idiot.
Don's a Hall of Famer, then. We got to give him that. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he never won anything. He has the most wins, but didn't win shit.
That's true. So anyway, so we're gonna get more into the NBA now. Like I said, we're still focused on that as well. Let's start with the Warriors. I call it the revenge tour. They beat the Knicks this week. They beat the Pacers and they beat the Hornets. All teams they lost to the week before. And I thought it was going to be a big week we talked about for Draymond because kind of the way he blew that game against the Hornets last week, basically with his just big mouth and getting technicals and setting up the loss there. And
a dumb play against the Spurs.
But, that's why I still think he's a top 30 player, though, is like he shows that, like, when he's engaged, like, he's still just one of the best, like, he's just a winning player. I mean, his stats this week against the Knicks, he was 9 rebounds, 12 assists, 7 points. Pacers, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 9 points. And then last night, probably would be his highest assist game ever. He has 12 rebounds, 19 assists, and 11 points. I don't know if he'll ever get more than that, ever, like in his whole entire life. That's a lot of assists. But maybe when Thompson's come back, he'll get more of them. The thing I noticed in those stat lines I like better from him, and I think it's when the Warriors will play better, especially without Clay, is it's not a lot of points, but when you're getting 9 and 11 from Draymond, that's going to help some of the other players free up a little bit more. In my opinion, him getting double digits is always a big deal.
He played unreal this week. He was definitely a top 30 player. He played like he was an all-star again.
Yeah, he showed his real things there. But I know you don't necessarily feel that same way. You have issues with him.
He just doesn't set his mouth, and he chased Durant out of town. There's a lot of things I don't like about him. But he's a good player if he can do this. We'll see if he can do this against the upper echelon team. These are middle of the road kind of team, more bottom tier, I guess, or like the Knicks, Hornets, and Pacers. Like,
what do you think? He's like unpredictable or something?
For sure, he's unpredictable. That's his whole personality. Is you don't know if you're gonna get a nice guy or because I'm sure he's a good guy, but he just blows up. He has these rants about players being treated wrong when they're getting paid $20 million. I don't know. He's just.
But what is it? That's what I mean. It just sounds like he annoys you more than anything. Like I'm talking about the basketball court. Like they knew that. Like,
he does.
You let these things get too personal with him. You've always been like this way.
With who?
With Draymond. He just annoys you so much that you sometimes like his failures at times, I feel like. Is that true? I think you had a smile on your face when he took that stupid shot.
No, I'm pissed. I hate it when he does stupid shit. I don't know how to explain Draymond to someone. He's integral.
Not reliable.
He's integral part of their 3 championships.
Yeah.
Yeah, before this week, he was playing not like a top 30 player. Would you agree with that?
Before this week? No, because I still had him in the top 30. But I would say that he was close. I would say that last week was definitely not a top 30 week when he took a horrible shot and got ejected. But I still think he has still been playing as a top 30 player because I just feel like he adds too much to their team. As much as that, I don't let it get personal with it. I keep it on the court. I don't let it get too personal.
That is not you take it the most personal with certain players. a different team, the Raiders. They'll tell me don't take it personally, and I don't take it because I'm not happy when he fails, like you said.
You're not smiling. You want to make that clear. You are not smiling.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I put words in your mouth on that one.
He was. I'll give him credit for being the only one who showed up in Game 7 against Cleveland when they lost.
No, I think I'm actually probably in the rarity with this one. I think more people probably are starting to get a little bit more annoyed with him than maybe me liking him as much as I do. So, but
did you see that
well,
Dallas reached out to like Porzingis?
Yeah, what was that for Wiggins and Pascal and Looney for Richardson and Porzingis? That's what I saw.
I thought Green was part of that deal for sure if they were going to do that.
No, I think it was Wiggins' contract. So I said I would do it when I was talking to our boy at Mateo49 on Twitter. I said I would take a flyer on that. That would be my.
They got Josh Richardson too, who's been
just to pair up Wiseman and Porzingis. I think that'd be a pretty good
and Green.
Be great length, and you got two different kind of bigs that, the whole problem is that I don't think Wiseman is good enough yet off inside to kind of offset Porzingis quite enough. So that'd be the only kind of thing. And you would lose a lot of depth with that, but I don't know. I'd take a chance on it.
But who are you going to play at the wing?
Yeah, that would be the problem. I mean, I guess you're just depending on when Clay comes back. Clay, I guess. You know what I mean? I guess that's what you'd be waiting on. You're banking on him more so to come back and be healthy at that point if you're doing a trade like that. I don't see – they're not doing that trade. That's all hypothetical. There's no way the Warriors are doing that trade. In some ways, I don't want to do the trade because he's so injury prone. So there's not really a reason I think they need to do that trade at all.
For sure.
I don't got anything else on the Warriors, but I kind of wanted to talk about a few other things that stood out to me in the NBA this week. You got anything on the other thing on the Warriors though?
No. God bless Stephen Curry.
God bless Stephen Curry. He makes him watchable. he makes him watchable because we're not watching it for Steve Kerr's offense. We know that.
And Kelly Oubre.
We're definitely not watching it for Kelly's threes. The 3 and D. The Jazz. I kind of looked at the standings this week and I was like, 26-7. I was like, dang. I was like, I kind of I guess just fell asleep on them for a little bit there. Like I knew they were playing well, but I mean they got a couple game lead on the Lakers and the Clippers there. But it's hard for me not to think. I always go back to whatever I think of like a team that gets first place in a conference, and then I just don't think it has enough to win that conference. For some reason, I always fall back to the 2004. I think it is Minnesota Timberwolves against the Lakers. Like I felt like the Lakers just like snooze fest through that kind of like whole season, still kind of got like the 2 or 3 seed. I mean, I know they got pushed to a game 7, I want to say as well in the conference finals, or at least the semifinals. And it just cracks me up. Like, it's just like, and you knew they weren't going to win the Timberwolves. So that's what I feel like with the Jazz, if they were to go against LeBron's Lakers, it's like, I could see the Jazz pushing them, winning a couple games, but it's like, they're just not, I don't feel like they would lose to. There's no way they could beat the Lakers.
I mean, Anthony Davis has to be healthy.
Yeah, of course.
That injury kind of reminded me of Durant's injury. He grabbed his calf and but we'll see. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about, they remind me of Atlanta Hawks with Horford, Josh Smith, Joe Johnson. Like good regular season. I don't see them winning in the playoffs.
No, they're way better than that. Those teams never were a 1 seed. They never were. They never were
or a 2 seed.
No, they were like 4 and 5s always. They never were like that good. Those teams were never that good.
Yes, they were.
I don't think they were ever that good. There's no way they got those high seeds.
The Pacers with the Beat and Paul George, like not the Beat. Hibbert, the Beat, same guy after a while.
To Beat. Grizzly fans, how do you feel about that pick? I don't know. I just feel like the Jazz are like Gobert's defensive player of the year. Mitchell's, an all-star. I feel like they're beating like good teams still. They're still playing well. I mean, they're 26-7. The regular season means something, but I'm just saying when it comes down to like, I'm having them in the conference finals. Like I think they can make the conference finals. I'm just saying I don't think they could get over that part of the Lakers. Like I don't see them as a finals team. And you're telling me you don't even know if you see them as a first round. It sounds
No,
like
they're first round.
first round.
They'll
So,
get out of the first round and lose then the second
yeah.
round.
Yeah, I
I
just
don't
think
have any.
so you don't have anything like that. You're not a big Gobert fan either. You don't like him either that much.
No. I mean, it's not personal, but
Yeah.
no, I'm not a big Gobert fan.
Yeah.
I think he's a good defensive player. I'm not even a big Mitchell.
Well,
I'm not a big anyone on the Jazz fan.
my main thing bringing up was like I just think the Lakers ultimately at the end of the day are going to be able to take the Jazz out. So I think it's nice to see the Jazz playing well. It kind of goes to show. I was thinking about like with Denver now struggling with the 8 seed a little bit, and like Miami's kind of they're in the East, but they're kind of like just teetering. Those teams made the finals. Like how different would it have been if like Connolly's shot went in round 1 against Denver? And won that game. Like, would Denver be the one that came back more motivated? Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes that stuff matters a little bit too. Like, coming back more hungrier, and then of course, Shaq provided the energy for them as well. So, no, just kidding. Ripping on Mitchell, getting them all fired up. So maybe that helped as well. I want to ask you a couple questions here before we get out of here with the NBA. A couple things. What's the team that you would say has surprised you the most? That you kind of early on was not expecting. So for me, I have the Knicks. They're 16 and 17, not even a winning record, but they're definitely better and more competitive than I thought they were going to be. Playing against the Warriors the other night, they looked a lot better. He's really good actually. I mean, like he's an all-star obviously, and he just looks like he's coming to his own a lot more. His offensive game is way better now. It's not just as one-dimensional. And then I got to throw the Bulls out there too. 15 and 17, again, not a winning record, but I thought they were going to be much worse. So those are two teams that are kind of surprising me the most.
Yeah, the Bulls were my biggest surprise. And the way Zach LaVine seems to have taken kind of this step, and Colby White has
Huh?
It's just shocking. He's played all right. He's been pretty good. What? Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I wasn't expecting.
I thought he was the guy with the big fro on UNC. I didn't think he'd turn into.
I know we have a podcast out here later where I think I remember talking about Colby White, and you were like, "Colby White, get out of here with Colby White." So I hope I can find that. If I gotta find that at some point. So maybe he's proven us wrong. But that's the thing. I mean, you're only a first-year player. You can make that jump that second year, and he's starting to play a lot better. He's shooting a ton.
Yeah.
Like he's taking like 8 threes a game. I mean, my gosh. The other question I had was, what team has disappointed you the most?
Oh, it's got to be the Celtics.
Well, yeah, for you, huh?
I had them in the finals, and they just.
What happened?
The
last couple weeks.
Kemba got aged 10 years in 6 months. He played good last night.
Yeah.
But he's been terrible. Tatum has been good, and Jaylen Brown has been better than he's ever been. So there's no except for Kemba took the step back where he's just like a grandpa almost. Like not really a grandpa, but
it's not good for us to support.
Doesn't play well enough.
We can't support people because you were like both hyping up Brown and Tatum last week, and now they're stinking it up again. So we don't want to be supporting anybody for sure. I think
they're both all-stars.
I think they're going to turn it back around. I remember I saw on First Take, Stephen A. Smith said that he thinks Brad Stevens is in trouble. I was like, get out of here. He's not going anywhere. There's no way. If he gets fired, somebody would pick him up right away. Don't you think, though?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think so.
Bill
Simmons has been tough on him.
Well, Bill's also a fan of the Celtics, so I'm sure he's going to be a little more critical. I think he's been critical of some of the playing time. The team that disappointed me the most, I got to go with, it's the Kings. I mean, I know they're the Kings, but like, you can't be 13 and 20. You can't be losing 9 games in a row. You got Walton, punching clipboards yesterday. I don't know what it is. Like, they just can't put it together. They're so bad defensively. I think I read a stat that they might, as of right now, they might go down as like the worst defensive team, like in some category ever. I think it was like defensive efficiency. I was like, that is not a good stat. You cannot be last in defensive efficiency ever. Like, I mean, the worst of all time.
Yeah, that's not. I defended Luke, and I can't defend him anymore. He's got to go.
He's going to get canned, don't you think?
But I thought, yeah, he has to. I thought you'd go with Dallas since you had him being the Lakers' biggest threat.
Yeah, they were also there, and I had the Hawks kind of in that conversation as well as the team. The Hawks are 14-19. Yeah, Dallas was the other team I probably should throw in there too for me. I think the Kings are just so disappointing to me because they're local and they're just like, it's like, come on, man, like just be a little bit better. Like, I don't know, I just kind of want I don't know, just want them to be better once in a while.
That's what I expected of the Kings. That's the Kings.
I guess I should have stayed. I guess I should have just stayed with the 50-year history of the Sacramento Kings instead of trying to think that something different was going to happen. Fox is looking a lot better though, for at least for that standpoint. He looks like he's kind of turned the corner a little bit, at least offensively, and figured it out. That guy is absolutely a rocket. I mean, that man is that guy with the ball. I don't think there is a faster player in the NBA with the ball. I think he's surpassed Westbrook by far now.
I can't.
I mean, he is.
Westbrook's, yeah.
Laser fast. Like, check him out next time. Like, if you get to watch a Kings game, which is probably not very often, he's a super fun to watch, and he's kind of figured it out a little bit. All right, that's all I got this week for the NBA. You got anything?
Did you see what Jay Williams said about who were we just talking about? The Kings point guard, Fox.
What did he say?
When he said why are we having an All-Star game, Jay Williams was like, he is Ja Morant. He's Ja Morant. Thinks he's Ja Morant or something. And I looked at their stats and I was like, his stats are better than Ja Morant, but I'd still rather have Ja Morant. I'm not like an idiot, but why are you taking a shot at a guy who's never done anything like wrong?
And why even go there with a shot and comparing these two guys that you don't need to compare him to anyways to put like something on him like that? And Morant right now is struggling with his shot. So right now, Fox is playing better at the moment. That doesn't mean Morant's not going to figure it out and, shoot a little bit better. I mean, Morant's inside game we've talked about, is electric. So yeah, that's kind of weird. I try to be careful of that on this podcast too. I know I do it all the time though. Still, it's like you try not to take shots at other players in the midst of saying something else, but sometimes it's hard not to compare and it's just kind of the fun of like,
that's true,
stuff like that. So that's the point of this podcast too, a little bit as well. So, all right, man, that was a good podcast this week. We'll be back next week with it. Please follow me at Fatboy FadeAway, Tyler at Tyler McGurk there on Twitter. We're going to be
MCUIRK after Tyler.
There you go. Say it over and over again. I like it. And then hope to have probably get Brian on here in a few weeks, like we've talked about, to preview the draft. So we'll kind of, as the NFL is over, like we said, kind of a little deep breath from the NFL here, but we will get back into it at some point here, probably the next month when the NFL draft starts to pick up a little bit more. So I know we'll have Brian on for that. And so, yeah, hope you guys have a good week.
Like and subscribe.
We'll see you on the next podcast. Later.